All right, take two.
Ready?
Okay.
Start.
Yeah. So, all right. Hello, everybody. Me and Larissa just having some conversations over here about things that we think are important and we think need to be brought to light. And okay, so we're talking right now about darkness and light, and we know that there is a divide, and we know that that it's good versus evil, it's dark versus light. Okay, and this goes into so many cases. Like, so many cases can be connected to these things. Now, we were just talking about the Maddie McCann case. Um, so, all right, I'll just tell this part first, and then we can go into the other.
Yeah.
But so for those of you who don't know, Maddie McCann was and her family were on a holiday, and her parents left them sleeping in the hotel. Well, they went, a few feet away. They say a few feet away, down the street to a restaurant to have dinner with friends. They said that throughout this period of time, which was about 2 hours, throughout this period of time, the father frequently would go and check on the children, make sure they were all good. Um, and that is when Maddie was taken. The last time they went to the hotel to check on them, she was gone. I believe, in my opinion, that the parents knew and set this whole thing up for the daughter to be taken. I believe that this happened. Now, again, this is my opinion, but I have done research. I've done a lot of digging. But I believe that this happened because Maddie was of the light. Now, those of you who have followed the Kylie case, you've heard a lot of us say that many times, that Kylie was of the light. I also believe that Maddie was of the light. And when you have groups and people like this that are all about the darkness or the dark forces, the dark energy, whatever you want to call it, they want to squash out and diminish any light, because light is a threat to the darkness, right? So I think that of the light people, and it's not everybody, it's not everybody is, you can be a good person and still not be of the light, right? There's certain people, and I don't know what it is or how it happens like this, but there are certain people that just exuminate this light. And I believe that those people are a threat to groups of people like this, because what's the only thing that can overpower darkness? True light,
Light. Yeah.
right? So they want to take out anybody that exuminates that light. And I believe that Maddie was one of them. Now, if you
Which
want to,
which if I might add, would
yep,
make sense because if you look at all the connections that we've been making in, say, Kylie's case, for example, to the elites or, whatever it may be, there was a rumor going around, and I believe it was maybe your deathbed confession that you had read. I just look at so much stuff that it's hard to, source
right,
out where it came from, but I think it is from your video. And they had said that Kylie was planning on exposing or something, whatever was going on in Truckee. She was going to bring
yep,
the light to what was happening in her town. That was a something that I don't know if is factual or not, but it's something that I heard. That would make a lot of sense as to why they would have taken her out, correct?
absolutely.
Right. So yeah, I just wanted to add that because if that is the case and we are looking at all these different cases that have all these different connections, then that is a possibility that yeah, these people do have the light in them and they have the power to expose the evil and the darkness in their
Yep,
towns, in their homes or wherever it may be. And they don't want that. They don't want to be found out so bad that they will do anything in their power to make sure that they can keep their little group together, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, and also I think that people who are of the light, who have this gift, who are of the light, I think that they have a need, and it's a necessity for them to try to spread the light, to try to take down the darkness, to try to expose the darkness. So with having these people, and yes, Maddie was what, 3 years old at the time, so she might not have been a threat at 3, but what could she have been at 10, 12, 15?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
like in Kylie's case, for example, like I believe, and you believe, we believe that Kylie was of the light. And what that means is if she was going to expose the darkness and the shit that was going on in that area, they had to have taken her out. And I go back, I always go back to that interview with Lindsay where she talked about how Kylie was feisty and tenacious and had her own mind made up, and you couldn't tell her, you couldn't tell her what was what, because she already knew, like she contained this gift that just wanted her to expose the darkness, that just wanted her to, she was going to be no part of it. So to me it makes sense, um to me it really makes sense that this is what they feel had to be done, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And then yeah, like, and then just to add on top of that, like with Matt, okay, if you look at Kylie's case and you look at Maddie's case, then you see that there's a lot of similarities between the two cases.
Absolutely.
Tons of similarities between the two cases, even down to the people who are tied to these cases.
Right.
Right. So I mean, I look at it more like I just look at these people like they're powerful, they're into, crazy stuff, like
Mhm.
because it always brings me back to trafficking for some reason. I'm
Uh-huh.
not saying that Maddie or Kylie was trafficked or anything like that. That may, they may have had an attempt on doing that or whatever. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if you look at these people and what they're tied to, you look at these people and the power that they have, the money that they have,
Right.
the resources they have to create cover-ups or to make somebody vanish without a trace, and you have no idea where they at. This is how powerful these people are. And I
Right.
don't know if you want to talk about the Red Shoe Club again, because I know you didn't
Yes.
record.
Yes,
But
we did.
so in Madeline McCann's case, in particular, CNY and I were talking before, um, but we didn't get it on tape. But um, there's something called the Red Shoe Club, and the Red Shoe Club can be looked up on Google. You can look it up and dig into it yourself. Now, the Red Shoe Club, it consists of a group of what seems to be just males, right? In that
Yeah.
picture, all I seen was males.
Yeah, it's all
But
males.
yeah, so it's all males. They're all wearing red shoes. Madeline McCann's dad is pictured next to none other than John P. I don't want to say his name on here because you abbreviated earlier.
Yeah.
A higher power. His brother Tony. And then if you look at Madeline McCann's suspect sketch
Yeah.
in her case, you see Tony and John,
Yeah.
almost complete, like a perfect replication of what they look like.
I mean,
How crazy is that?
you look at those sketches and that's exactly who it is. Like
Dead
there's
giveaway.
no arguing about that.
Like but who was the one who gave the sketches though? That's my question.
Yeah, they actually had, and I think because I did a couple videos on Maddie,
Yeah.
but I want to say that there was three people that all like that went to the cops separately that were witnesses that they each gave the same exact description of the people who took Maddie, and it was
Wow.
J and T P, John and Tony P. And
Jeez.
if you look, these people, I mean, you can go in to, I mean, let's go a little deeper. You can go in and look at the art that this Red Shoe Club, that these people have on their walls. And it's all, they call it art, but it's pictures of children being tortured, bound, tied. It's some
Hmm.
crazy shit, but they call it art. And you're
Yeah.
gonna tell, I mean, how can you, I mean, you're gonna tell me what? That's normal? That doesn't mean you're a dark fucking soul or a dark person or working under the dark forces? I mean, who has pictures of, who thinks of children being tortured as art?
Right. And
You
I want
know,
to know too, and I want to dig deeper into what do the red shoes symbolize in that club?
I think it's blood of children. in my opinion.
That's what I was gonna say, because red is just, I just immediately thought blood out of that.
Yeah.
Like a like something that had to do with blood. Yeah, like it seems sacrificial, right? It looks like
Right.
a freaking weird, like, yeah, it does look like a cult. It does look like that. I don't like to believe in those things because that, like, I don't know, it's just evil about those things that I just don't like to believe and look into. But
Hmm.
I'm not saying that they're not real. They're
Right.
probably absolutely 100% real. I mean, you see that there's people who sacrifice their kids with that. What is it? The Maria. I don't want to
Yeah.
disrespect anything, but there's some weird religion thing that they do, and they sacrifice their own kids sometimes. So
Yeah.
yeah, it happens for
Right.
sure. But I think that, you know, with the money and with the ties that these people have and everything else like that, for me, like, could they be leading a cult? Absolutely. But I don't want to think that it's a cult thing that they're sacrificing. I don't know what to feel about it. I really,
Right.
really don't. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around how these people could be having these cults and these things and everything else like that, and be so rich and powerful and be part of our like political system. I'm just, it's hard for me to decipher between the two and to wrap my head around the two and whatever, because they're
Right.
both humongous possibilities. But do they all just tie all into one big thing, or is it like separate businesses? Like, you have the cult business with the Red Shoe Club here, and then you have the trafficking club over here. Like, is
Right.
it all just one big thing with these big powerful people, or is it like separate businesses, separate industries that they're doing?
See, I think that there's like one main top thing at the top, right? And then they have different corporations, like we'll just use it as an example. So they break
Yeah,
it off in different corporations, but it's all held under the main one umbrella.
right.
You
Okay.
know, that I mean, that's just what I think after doing the research and stuff that I've done. But I mean, when you can tie these things, okay, so when you can tie shit like this into a bunch of different cases, I mean, it's kind of hard to
Deny it.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to a wrap your head around it all. But B, I think it's hard for people too because we don't want to think about how evil people can be, right? We don't want to think about how much darkness there actually is out there. And I think a lot of people's brains like just don't want to um fully accept this because they're like it's just so out there. Like I
It's so
think that
far-fetched. You
yeah,
don't
I
hear
think that
about it.
exactly. I think that like movies have desensitized people to things like this. So now
Hmm.
when they hear something about it, they're like, "Oh, come on, that's fantasy, that's sci-fi fiction, that's movies." You know what I mean?
Right.
But
Okay, but
really,
let's talk about that in the movies and how they desensitize it in the movies, right? Don't you
right,
think that they're doing it for a reason? They're desensitizing it for a reason in movies because they don't want us on to what they're actually doing. If you pay
exactly.
attention to anything in the movies, in the industry, with the actors, the actresses, the singers, the songwriters, whatever
Yep,
they are, right? Big, huge celebrities and what they're actually into, what they're promoting. If you look at
right.
Doja Cat, for example, she has a
Yep,
song called Demons. She's dressed up as a complete demon, crawling around these walls, doing all these things. Like, her
yeah,
whole entire vibe has went from bubbly girly girl to now total demonic, like everything in her representations now.
yeah. Look
So
at Lady.
it's like they're
Sorry, go
doing
ahead.
that for, no, I'm sorry. They're doing it for a reason to desensitize it for us, the people, because we're looking at all these big figures and we're like, nah, like that's just the style. That's what's in right now. It's
Right,
nothing. But it's really true and it's really happening.
right. And that, yeah, I think that they put it out there, and it pisses me off because they're bringing all of this to the younger generation, to the people that are growing up with it. So they're going to say, "Oh, this darkness, this evil, these demons, this is all fucking normal." And it's so not, but it's not just a play either. Like and that's what I say about movies, whatever. Like somebody wrote that fucking script. That
Right.
shit came from somewhere. You know, it's
Exactly.
that shit happens in real life. And it's I get it that it's hard to accept it, but I mean, it's the information is out there. You know, if
Mhm.
you're digging long enough, you can connect fucking dots from here to here, you know, everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's, I mean, if you can take, like, for example, let's just throw Chris Watts' case out there, okay? Shanann Watts, when she was found, had almost no blood in her body. What the fuck? Almost no blood in her body. Now, I believe that she and her children were also of the light people. And you know what's really crazy is that his girlfriend, the girl he was having an affair with, has connections to the cult of Odin, which is just fucking bonkers to me. Because
Crazy.
I just saw a cheating husband. You know what I'm saying? Who wanted
That's what
out.
I saw.
Yeah, that's what I saw. And before all this, you couldn't tell me different. But finding that connection is like, so you're like, holy moly.
Yeah. And then okay, so I do have a question because I didn't really get into Chris Watts' case like too deep because that's all I saw was the cheating husband and his mistress, like,
Right.
that's what I saw. But for that, you said that Shanann had no, like, almost no blood left in her body. What was her cause of death? Because I thought it was strangulation.
Yeah, it was.
So then how does all the, like, would her being left in that area like diminish all the blood that's in her body, or like how does that work?
Wow, that's beyond me because there is no reason why she shouldn't have had any blood in her body.
That's so weird.
It doesn't make any sense, right? That's so bizarre.
It's so that's why I was just like, when you said that, I was like, I thought she died of strangulation. She wasn't stabbed to death where she would have had no,
Right.
blood in her body.
That's
And
the
if it was
crazy thing.
right. Like, I don't know, like when you like it, well, when you're dehydrated, it doesn't take all the blood from your body. Like, like I'm just trying to understand
Right.
what would be a scientifical reason why she would have had no blood in her body. That's so weird.
It is so weird, and it makes no sense until, like, the Red Shoe Club, for example. They're, I mean, believe it or not, people are going to say, oh, come on. But blood is a huge thing, and especially certain blood types. Okay, certain blood types are very fucking important to these people. And
Right.
she could have had that special blood type where, listen, the blood was taken. But I just think it's very odd that Chris and her had this perfect relationship for all of this time until this chick came into their life. And even so, right? Think about this. Even so, a normal husband, okay, whatever, the fantasy's over. The
Hmm.
the honeymoon stage is over. You've got a wife and kids. Now it's more like a fucking responsibility and it's nagging, and husbands step out on their families all the time. But to go to the extreme to kill your wife and your kids, it just doesn't make any sense for somebody who loved their children. It just doesn't make sense. And then you put on top of that the fact that her body had almost no blood in it. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like, just for everybody to know, we understand what we're talking about sounds completely insane. We're
Yes.
just, we're just putting it out there because it's something that we've been looking into, and I think that CNY and I both have very open minds when it comes to things. And if we see something that we feel like means something, then we're going to put it out there, and let you guys make your opinions based on, what we're looking into and what we're talking about. So
Right.
it does look absolutely wonky that we're talking about this, but could it be a possibility? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many different cases that so many weird things happen, and like, you look at like the shooters, for instance, the guy said he was hearing voices in his hearing aid. How come all
Yeah.
the shooters are always hearing voices?
Crazy, right?
You know what I mean? Like, it makes your mind go,
Yep.
like, what does that mean? And then you start looking into it, and then you start getting into all these theories and these, things, and then you have to look. It, it it's rabbit holes for
It
sure,
is.
but they're worth looking into because the Red Shoe Club thing, to me, finding Madeline McCann's father pictured in that photo with Tony P,
Yep.
knowing Tony P is connected to John because they're brothers,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that John has a condo in Truckee, knowing that Kylie's case is a cover-up, knowing
Yeah.
that we don't know if that was actually her body in the car or not, because I don't think anybody ever identified her but the police officer.
Right.
So there's that. And then you look at Madeline McCann, missing without a trace. Nobody knows what happened to her. Nobody knows where she is. There's people coming out pretending to be her, or whatever it
Yeah.
may be. Crazy
And
stuff surrounding these cases. But who, if you look into it, has the power, the money, the willingness to instill fear in other people
right.
to do
Right.
these types of things? It is these groups. And if you want to call them cults, call them cults, because if you look at it, they are a group of people who are into evil, nasty things. Torturing kids, I mean, come on, that's evil and nasty. That's like devilish right there, right? So yeah, if
Right.
you look at it, you could say technically that's a cult.
Yep.
Technically, you know,
Exactly.
and you guys can call it whatever you want it. I look at it like CNY looks at it like it could be the cult. I look at it like it's just the higher powers and the elites. There's just
Right.
people look at it different ways, and you can look at it any way that you want. But I definitely feel like it's something to look into, and it's worth looking at, because why are these people who have these groups where they just wear all red shoes, why are these higher up officials found tied to these cases of these missing girls?
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly. And it's so crazy to me, like in the Maddie McCann case, that I mean the parents were always like they said that the parents were suspects from the beginning, that this, that, and the other thing, but it doesn't make any fucking sense that somebody broke in. Think about this for a second. Somebody broke into their hotel room. There was 3 sleeping kids in there, and they only took the one. Why wouldn't
Now,
they have taken all 3?
I think, in my personal opinion, because what you said is that the dad was going and checking in on the kids, right?
Yep.
Dad's going, checking in on the kids. I feel like there was some type of meetup or some type of transaction
Exactly.
where he went in, checked on the kids one last time, was waiting maybe for them to get there or something, show up at the,
Yep.
whatever, and here, take her. That's it. She was probably dead asleep. He picks her up, hands her, because that's her dad. She trusts in her dad, so she's not waking up, right? And then
Right.
she gets handed off to these guys. They take off with her. A couple people see, they fucking put sketches out, and all this shit happens.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason for the father to be photoed in a picture with these people, and these people come out on the sketch, and the dad is not saying anything about it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, those people in the sketch, and you're not going to speak up about the fact that those people in the sketch are people that you talk to and are pictured with. Why?
Right. Because you know exactly what happened and you were part of it. You
Yes.
set it up.
Yes, exactly. You set it up. Like, that's my personal opinion. So my personal opinion is dad does know exactly what happened to his daughter. My personal opinion is that dad probably gave his daughter away to those people. And you know what? I hope that one day somebody somewhere powerful enough can stop whatever the heck is happening to all these kids, can
Right.
stop these sacrificial things, can stop the trafficking. Like, I hope somebody one day can just end it all, because
Yeah.
it's sick. What we're digging into is just sick to know. Like, in us having kids,
I know.
like, it is so scary to know that this type of thing is happening. It's like, who's next? Like, are they going to come for me because I'm talking about this stuff and try and do something with my kids now? You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's the scariest thing, and it's scary to dig into, and it's scary to look, to talk about. But we chose this when we, decided to dig into this stuff.
Right. And yeah, and it is totally scary because these, I will say, these groups have been mentioned, talkings have been mentioned here. Hold on. What is that noise? Oh shit, that scared me. Okay. Um, have been mentioned in many cases, many murder cases before, but have either been cleared immediately by LE, or people have tried to say something and then were taken out for it, or they were scared they were threatened, like, I will kill your family if you say a damn word. So there's many different reasons, but like, okay, let's just take Idaho 4 case, for example. Kaylee got it the worst of all four. She was not even, that was the one day that she just happened to come back, and she was never going to come back again. She was leaving. Now, her dad, which I also think he's the main parent of all four kids. He's the main parent of the or I'm sorry, he's the main one who has come out and spoke on everything, right?
Yeah, on all their behalfs, correct.
Yes. And his brother, okay, you can look this up, guys. His brother is doing 20 years in prison for killing a man. That man's son is connected to the cult of Odin. Now, I know, some people don't like the word cult, but that's literally what it's called. It's called the cult of Odin. So it does make you fucking wonder if it's connected, because I mean, how crazy, right?
Yeah, and if just like if people don't want to use cult as a freaking thing, it could be called like maybe not Cult of Odin, even though that's really what it's called, but you could say Club of Odin. You know what I mean?
Right.
Excuse me, because that's technically kind of what these things are. They're kind of like clubs, secret hangouts, those types of things. Like you have to have a certain qualification or some type of something to get into these clubs. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I think that goes into the same thing about like movies and TV and stuff. Like, people don't like the word cult because they associate it with, some craziness. But like, a cult is just a group of people that have the same fucking belief. That's what a cult is, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, you could call it group, call it club, call it whatever you want to call it. But it's just very hard that once you see all these connections, it's very hard to unsee it. And it's very hard for my mind anyway to go, okay, I mean, how many coincidences is this now? Like, how many coincidences is too many? Like,
Right.
I don't believe in coincidence. I think everything happens for a reason. But yeah, it's tied to this darkness is tied to so many things. And to me, it makes sense that people would want to diminish anybody who held this light inside of them. Now, goes on this goes into more of a spiritual thing, and I don't mean religion. I mean fucking spiritual consciousness, frequencies, shit like that. Because there is a lot of people that contain this light, and I don't know whether it has to do with, I mean, there's a lot. If you can look into, there is so much shit on different blood types that it's crazy. And they have rare, they have special, they have certain abilities. Like, people that have this type of blood have, I'm not going to say the type of blood but this group of people that have this certain blood type have these certain abilities. They may not be tapped into them, but they contain them. So, that could be something too. Like, that could have something to do with the light that they have inside that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no. I get it. And like, yeah, it's all just like it's a lot, like you said earlier, to wrap your head around, like I said earlier, to wrap your head around, because it's like crazy to think that this type of thing exists.
Right.
But I totally get it. Like, and I agree, like some people do exude like that certain type of just like energy, and that they're just gonna be like like a little angel kid. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if I was to look at my kids right now, I would look at them and say, yeah, they're my little angels, but I wouldn't be like they're literal angels. Like they can do like, no wrong and all these things. But there's some kids who are just like, they just have that energy, that light, that,
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, some kids do. Like some kids do. And there's qualities in some of the kids, like the intelligence factor of the kids, or the kindness, or the empathy that the kid portrays, or whatever it may be. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
you know, if you look at Kylie, how smart she was, she graduated high school early to go to college early. And
Yeah.
she's probably one of the only people in her town that's done that. And
Plus, she had the talent, you know.
right. And that just, yeah, she had the talent. She was a freaking pure light. So,
Yeah.
yes.
And
And
she, yeah.
who knows what Madeline McCann's talents were, or who knows, like, all those things. Because I don't know if there's really much that anybody's really said about her, you know?
Right.
So, I don't know.
Absolutely. And, you know, it makes me wonder too about like Kylie's, because the autopsy was so fucked. And honestly, we have no proof. There is no physical proof that she was in the back of that car. There, we have no proof that the autopsy was actually done on her. So, I mean, it really does. It makes you. I mean, it makes me anyway. It makes me think that it's absolutely makes sense that this could have been what happened to her. That a terrible group of people who who uh, live under the darkness umbrella, the dark energy, the dark frequencies, just the darkness would want to take her out. And especially since all the symbolism we saw in her case, I mean, to me, it's just I can't unsee it now. I've seen it now, I can't unsee it. And I, all this talk of the community. I mean, we've been trying to figure out who the fuck this community was for how long. We kept hearing about the community. They kept getting praised so much. Lindsay couldn't be fucking happier about joining the community. So it really, when you put it all together, it really paints a picture. And I think people need to keep an open mind, because to me, like I thought in the beginning, when this case first happened, I was like, oh shit, Sammy, her friends, the teens, they did something. You know what I mean? And now, after learning everything I've learned, it's like, no, there were way darker forces at work here, and they were just the ones that were put out there. They were just the people that were supposed to lead us in the wrong direction, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that they were there to throw some type of a narrative for sure. Like, I also do feel like there could be a factor where if you look at people's connections, especially Hembrick's connections, um,
Oh yeah.
then they're connected to the darkness, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
it's like, now for Sammy's placement in it, was she put there to do the narrative because she was privy to know these people through Nate, right? Because they dated at
Right.
some point. And was she privy to these people through Nate? Does her family have ties to them? All these different types of questions it makes you ask. What was Sammy's role in this whole cover up thing? Was she really innocent and here to play a narrative? Did she have involvement in what happened to Kylie and she's helping with the cover? Like, there's so many questions you can ask yourself surrounding that. But
Right.
one question that we have answered is that there is one kid connected to this darkness, right?
Yes.
Through his family members, for
Yeah.
sure. Like, that
For sure.
is for sure factual information that this kid is connected to these higher up, darker people.
Yes.
So, and it's funny because you don't really see anything about him anywhere,
Nope.
right? It's like everything was scrubbed off the internet. Like, I
Right.
like, I think somebody, I don't remember who was saying this. I think it was like Shanda or something when I caught a little bit of her live, but she was saying that like there's nothing of him
Right.
anymore. And I was just like, that's insane to know that there's nothing left of this kid and he's connected to these people. It makes you scratch your head and say, interesting, right?
Now, wasn't he in the Gateway video?
I don't I don't know. I want to say yes, but I don't
Yeah.
know for sure because I haven't seen some of the videos that I haven't seen a lot of him really at all. I've
He
seen
was
maybe a couple pictures, but I haven't been able to point people out in videos because I'm paying more attention to the words that are being said.
I want to say that he was in that Gateway video about marijuana.
It was yeah, it's possible. I mean, we would have to double check that and just, clarify that later on. But yeah, I mean,
Okay, so don't quote me on that, guys, but I'm
yeah,
pretty sure
yeah, I'm pretty
that
sure
that's what it
too. But
was.
but because I'm sure that I heard something about it, but like I said, I don't really look. See, that's the thing with me is I don't really look in. I'm not good with faces and names and stuff like that, but I can definitely, look at into what they're saying. That's my
Right.
thing. And so yeah, so for names and stuff like that, no, I don't really know. So when Nate Hembrick was actually first mentioned to me, I was like, I don't even know who the heck this kid is. All I know is Sammy and Jagger and whatever. But then I
Right.
started doing like the digging and the investigating into the elites, and with other people, when you put stuff out, they comment to you and you get to research, luckily. And
Yes.
there's some other creators that put stuff out on this long and long time ago, and when you look at their stuff, you could see how they're connected. It's like they're
Right.
financially backing them or having
Yeah.
investments with the Hammer Attack family. But so yeah, I mean, a cult, a group, and a elites, whatever you want to call them, definitely keep an open mind about that, because it's happening. It's real. Like, if you guys think trafficking isn't real, you guys are insane. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say, that's just on my honest opinion. It's a
Yeah.
real thing that's really happening. I mean, they're doing busts all over the place. There's people dying left and right, and their parents are doing this, and they're praising to this like weird spirit god thing. I don't know what they're
Yeah.
praying to, but like it happens. It's real freaking life. It is
It
really
is.
happening.
It is real life. And the reason I mentioned that about the Gateway video was because when that insider that had reached out to me was like, okay, so they start these kids young with this indoctrination into into this group. So they
Mm,
start them young. They were like, they start out with these like day camps and stuff, and then they have like the wilderness retreats when they're a little bit older, this, that, and the other thing. But it's not a far fucking fetch to say, okay, well, look at these wilderness programs. Look at this gateway program that offers like kit offers teenagers a bunch of different things, where
mm-hmm.
they can indoctrinate you, where they can, really, really pound their beliefs into you. And so, I mean, a lot of what that person said to me, I believe, because it just makes everything make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, you can't. I don't know how you can look into this and deny any deeper, darker connections, because it's. And I'm not saying you. I'm saying
Yeah,
anybody, because I just, like I said, that's like, it's so prevalent to me now.
it just seems like the more logical explanation. Like, when you look at these cases, it's more logical that there's some type of a higher being, or some type of a like something backed, like yeah, an evil backed behind these cases, clearly. And if you just look at the connections itself, I mean, that's all really, like, I have to say, is look at the connections we've made themselves, is just,
Right.
from Hembricks to the elites, and to Maddie's dad to the elites. It just all ties in together, and it ties in with the industry and how they desensitize us. The internet is
Right.
is filtering things that we say that could be legit. They're taking our content down, doing things like that. um
Yep.
it speaks volumes. Like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to look at what we're presenting to you, and kind of understand what we're getting at, you
Right.
know
Yep. And I
and
mean, look at Gabby Petito, for example. Like, I
yeah.
think she was another one who was of the light. And it's so bizarre to me because when I first heard that Bryant, her boyfriend, had killed her, I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, these are like eat healthy type of people. These are like, don't litter. These are very of the earth people.
Hmm.
And it was bizarre. I'm like, that's so crazy to me. And then you go to think, though, right? That look at how much of this shit happens in national parks. Like, national parks are huge for these groups, I will say. No.
Yes, and I wanted to say too that there's been like YouTubers who do, say, paranormal investigating. Okay, they've
Yeah.
gone to some of these, because I'm into all types of stuff. I watch all types of stuff. But paranormal investigators, they go to like a national park or somewhere that has like a cave or something like that, and there's pentagrams and all types of crazy shit in
Dude.
these places. Yes. And
Yeah.
and it's just like leftover markings of like spray painted pentagram, and it could be just graffitiers messing around, right?
Mhm.
But then there's some that are like legitimately carved into like concrete or things like that, and it's like this would be because they're in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
These pentagrams, these things are in these wild places that you wouldn't think people would go access. They're
Yeah.
in these like more isolated spaces, like that have big land to cover and everything else like that. Like you would get lost walking through wherever you're going, right? If you didn't
Right.
have some type of a GPS or whatever. And usually a lot of the times when you go out to these national forests, or you go out to up in the mountains, it's hard to have even service on your phone, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
like it is a good place. It is a good hideaway for them to do these types of things because of the vast area that there is. Because of the isolation, like you could go somewhere in a national forest and nobody's going to find you if you're partying and you're smoking up there, especially
Right.
if no ranger is patrolling the area. Like
Yep.
nobody's going to find you in what you're doing because it's such a vast area.
Oh, for sure. Let me ask you this. Do you know where hold on, let me see if I can find this real quick. Do you know where I gotta ask you where this lake is if you've ever heard of it? Hold on.
Okay.
Somebody had sent this to me and I found it very interesting, but I was like, hold up, I gotta find out where that okay. Where is what's the name of this? Manzanita Lake Campground.
Manzanita Lake.
Yeah, it's Manzanita.
Mm, I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Really? I think it's
No.
in. All right, hold on. Let me type that in real quick and then I'll tell you why I'm asking. So I
Yeah,
just want
because
to
I
make
haven't
sure.
heard.
Um, Manzanita. Is that the fuck that says? So tiny.
Because
Okay.
I know I'm more near like Lake Gregory, Lake Arrowhead, Big Bear, like those areas
Oh,
where
okay.
those lakes are. I'm in southern, so if that's something up north, then I don't really know unless it's like Boca or Prosser.
Yeah. It says Manzanita Lake, California. Um, but I don't know where it is. Let me see.
Let's see if I can.
So you never heard of it. So it's
No, but I can Google it real quick and find out where it's at from me. See how close it is. Because
okay.
I maybe, okay, if I want to give like an estimate, I maybe a 30-minute drive with heavy traffic from LA,
Oh, okay.
like downtown LA. So
Yeah.
let me see if I can find.
I wonder how far this is from Truckee.
Monte Vita Lake Campground. Let's see. In California? Huh. I'm looking at all the. So this says it's in Mineral, California. That's 484 miles away from me. So I want to say like maybe a 4 to 5 hour drive.
Okay, how far away is that from Truckee though?
Let me see. I'm gonna
Okay.
look up the estimations right now. Manzanita. It's Manzanita, right?
Yep.
Manzanita.
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. To Truckee, California. Oh my God! When I typed it up in the search bar, it automatically was going to take me to Truckee Airport.
Wow.
Hold on. Okay, let's just see how far it is from the airport then, since
Okay.
airports are like little tunnels. Let's see if it'll give me even a map. It doesn't want to give me a.
Ugh.
What the heck? What the heck? It doesn't want to give me a map. Let me see.
That's crazy.
Yeah. What the? It just says there's no like search options available.
Oh, how bizarre is that?
This is weird. And it won't give me the frickin' directions. Hold on. Let me go do this. Are we live sleuthing right now?
We are. But you know what? Yeah, we got to find out how close that is to
Okay, so let's do Manzanita
Lake Campground.
Lake Campground to Truckee. Shit. Okay, let me try this. Okay, let me do directions. Let me do choose starting point. Let's say Truckee, California. Here we go. I think I got it now.
Okay.
It's about from Truckee. This campground is 3 hours and 9 minutes away.
Okay. Now, what's interesting is, you know how we've all been speculating about how, Prosser just it didn't seem right because nothing fit, nothing matched, right?
Right.
Well, what's weird is that this group, this Odin group, had and this Asatru, it's Asatru under the umbrella of Odinism. That's what it is. Like Asatru is a form of Odinism. So this group had a huge get together gathering at Manzanita Lake Campground on August 5th, 6th, and 7th. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, you know what I'm saying? Like shit happens at Prosser a lot, but you don't ever hear about like these gatherings happening. Like you had the witches there, you had like the Donner family or the Donner group and all of that shit happened down there. But this group had this specific gathering on their calendar. They have had them at Prosser in the past, but in August of 2022, they had a huge gathering at this lake for all of the members of this group. So it kind of makes me wonder, especially with no proof of her being there, no images of her that night. Nobody can get her car going to or from that specific area. Makes me wonder if this shit didn't happen at this campground, at this lake. Because, I mean, we had the people even telling us that, listen, no parties happened here. And then you had the people from Boca, the campground hosts, saying, no, it didn't happen there either. So if it didn't happen there and it didn't happen there, but that's the area we're focusing on, it could have happened fucking 3 hours away. And nobody ever looked into it because why would we?
So yeah, because remember, okay, so there's that last known photo of Kylie, which I don't think is Kylie, but there's that
Right.
last known photo at 6:08, right?
Right.
There, and then she didn't show up to the party around 10 o'clock. Isn't that like about a 3-4 hour span?
That's what I'm saying. That would fill in the gap.
Oh my God, what the heck?
Yeah.
What the heck well, we just put that together.
And I'm going to show you this. Let me show you this. Hold on. That is so crazy because nobody can fill in that gap. Nobody can say where she was for those hours.
Oh my God, that would make total sense. And then say that the next day they're driving around trying to find somewhere that they could put her body. Right. And they're looking at Boca. That would explain why it was the next day and the next morning. They go looking at Boca, and then their car gets messed up or whatever because they're all flustered and in a panic, right?
Yeah.
So they call Nick the tow truck guy, and that is what the account for Boca is.
Yes.
Right? So that would make total sense because they were probably looking for somewhere that they could put her.
Right. And nobody was looking there. We were not looking there because we had no reason to look there.
Right.
We were all looking at Prosser going, well, it doesn't make sense because that's, 20 minutes from our house. Where is the other 3 hours? Where's the other, So let me show you this. Let me pull this up. Oh, I'm already sharing it. What the fuck? Okay. So you can see this on the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So right here, August 5th, 6th, and 7th was the Layson camp out for this group of Odinists that just happened to go, like this is Truckee and Grass Valley. And then Lindsay just happened to move to Grass Valley. I'm just saying. But
Okay, I have a
this,
question. That tattoo, that Sammy has, would that have a connection to this type of thing or no?
I was trying to zoom in on that because I think there is, um, I think there's details in that rose that tie into this, but I couldn't get close enough because every time I would zoom in, it would get real blurry. So if you
Yeah,
can find me like a clear picture of that,
I
then we
might
can know
have
for
one.
sure.
I
Then
might
we can
have
know for
one.
sure. But I mean, doesn't that make sense to you? That would fill in the 3 hour gap and it would explain why they had to put out a fake fucking photo of her last known photo.
Right. And then it would also explain if there was higher level people at these parties like Don Weston was saying,
Right.
right? It just wow,
Mhm.
that's all tying. That's kind of crazy.
I mean, why are you going to do it? If think about it, if you're JP or any of these people that are these elite higher ups, why are you going to do it in your own backyard? You
You
wouldn't.
know,
You would do it a couple hours away.
yeah, and okay, so I have a question. So what was your opinion on that girl that was reported running like towards the Sacramento area, I believe? Like she had no shirt on or something.
Right. I
Right? What
mean,
do you think of that? Could that have been
forever
her,
I
do you
thought it,
think?
huh?
Do you think that could have been her?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've always thought. Like I
Because I
always thought,
believe to get to that lake, when I was looking at the directions, you have to pass through, I believe, Sacramento to get there.
yeah. I've always said that. I always thought that that was her. Like, what are the chances that it was another girl running from a silver CRV? You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's weird. Oh my God. But it makes sense because if they had to drive that distance from whatever time that last photo was, there is that span of time we cannot fill in. But if they
Right.
ended up driving that distance, and there was a chance that if she fought, she's feisty, everybody said she would fight for herself, things like that,
Right.
right? She
Yeah.
fought for herself. She escaped the car. They dragged her back in, probably, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. And it would
Crazy,
make
right?
sense because that they would have had all of that time until she supposedly arrived at the party
Right.
to have that happen.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, I'm not stating this as fact, but I am saying that this is a very good possibility and it would fill in that it would fill in the gaps.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it does make sense. I mean, take it for what you guys will. I mean, but it makes sense. It does because that 3 to 4 hours she wasn't accounted for. Where was she? That's always been one of my questions. Where
Right.
was she?
Right.
Was she even alive prior to, like, was that photo even real? You know what I mean? Like, was she even alive prior? When was her last, actual date? There's so
Right.
many questions that we're trying to like figure out.
Exactly. So, I think I'm going to start, just doing a little bit of research on this lake campground and see, what pops up, but I do find it very interesting that, and especially knowing that you have to, go through Sacramento to get there. It
Right.
it's kind of, yeah. So I think it's definitely worth looking into for sure.
Yeah, I know that I'm definitely going to be researching it today because I'm going to learn all that stuff. But the babies are up, and I know
Okay.
that you're going to have to probably go soon, so
Yeah, I'm gonna end this one too.
we can pick this up anytime. I'm always free to do a live with you. So
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me.
absolutely, I love coming on your panels because we always have great conversations. Look what we just did.
I know it.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye, chat.
All right, you guys. So I know some of you might think this, sounds just keep an open mind and open your eyes. Don't walk through it with blinders on because the facts are there are no facts. And that's just what it is. And, check into this because it would certainly fill in that gap since she was supposedly at the gas station at 6:08 but didn't get to the party until 10. There you go. That would fill that gap. And about all this other stuff we talked about, listen, this shit's real. These things happen in real life. These groups exist in real life. This is not fake. This is not sci-fi. This is not, false, this is not fantasy. This is real shit that happens out there. I mean, do your research, look into it, because there's no there's no denying that any of this stuff actually happens. All right, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light. And I will see you guys next time.